and today we are going to be talking about something that's a little bit of messy middle for us. Angela, we're talking about your fun problem.
Yeah, we've been on a theme of independence and freedom. So we're going to keep going. We started that last week. We're going to keep it going.
Right. And we also have previously talked about fun on the podcast and the importance
We
of
spent a
fun.
whole month on it.
Yes, all sorts of things. And yet, I find it very interesting that here you are, a couple months later, being like, I have a fun problem in my life and need to address that. So I keep just addressing it as your fun problem, and that's
Yeah,
it.
let me set up the context.
Tell
So
us more.
tell us more. Yeah, so this is definitely hashtag messy middle stuff. So I'm pretty open that a few years ago went on a journey, a health journey, and lost 30 pounds. And I maintained, and I figured out that 30 pounds was too much to lose. And so I settled in at what turned out to be 20-pound weight loss. And then earlier this year, got on scale. I was like, put 10 pounds back on. And that gets to the point where I'm like, "Oh, crap, I'm gonna end up regaining everything that I lost, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, self, what's going on with you?" And the answer I got was, because I do talk to myself a lot, the answer was, "You did this on purpose. You attracted this because you want to use your own method." Because I used a eating program, and I was a coach with that eating program. And I wanted to use my own method, my emotional processing method. So this has been going on for like 3 months that I've been experimenting with, okay, how do I use my method? And actually my two problems that are kind of related. Anyway, so it's like, okay, first I'm gonna like, why are you eating? What can you do different? Right. And then it's like, um, that I'm like, no, that's not working. So let me get in touch with the ideal weight version of me. And I get in touch, and so then I'm like, that is the version of me that is going to make good choices. And I tried that. Some success, working on it. Wasn't moving the needle, so to speak. And and weight is just an indicator, just so y'all know. It's like I'm not obsessed. It's just that for me, it's an indicator. And so then I was like, you know what? How do I need to attack this? I need I need more fun. I need to do this in a fun way. Oh, instead of like exercising, what are ways that I like to move my body and burn calories that are fun? So I need to be walking. I want to be walking more. I want to be riding my bike more. I want to be dancing more. I want to be doing all the things. And so I've been telling my brain for the last 2 weeks, you know what? Gonna have some more fun. That is how we are going to get back to our ideal weight. And I'm working my way there. And actually finally movement. We have needle movement. I'm very excited about this. And then I also, and these are why these are related, is I've observed over the last 3 months that I have been drinking too much. So I went through a period when I was writing Traveling Light where I went 14 months and didn't drink anything. I can't say I wouldn't drink a drop, because if Barry ordered a cool drink, I would just take a sip just to taste the flavor. But I mean, I didn't have my own beverage for 14 months. And so I can go without alcohol, but what I've figured out is that uh, Angela, after several drinks, is a lot more fun than sober Angela. And there's people that listen to the podcast that are like, Angela, you're fun. I remember talking to Mike and going like, I wouldn't even set a goal in the fun area because it's too intimidating, right? That should have been my indicator that there was an issue here. But anyway, so I recently am like, oh, you know what? I don't want to solve my drinking problem because that's just a behavior issue. I actually want to solve my fun problem, because if I can get sober Angela to be as much fun as I'm just gonna say it easy, because drunk Angela, they're Angela after a few drinks is too many words to say. Then I don't think I will drink as much. And so I said, "Hey, let's talk about this on the podcast because now I'm on a quest. How can I have more fun so that I can solve 2 problems at once?" Drinking less will also help the weight problem, I'm pretty sure.
They do seem to be connected, you know.
I'm pretty sure. So, that's what we're gonna talk about today
I love
is
it. What's so funny is that, for everybody, if you want to see the peek behind the curtain, this is it. This is the extent of our script for today of our outline. You guys get to follow along to just see what happens. Normally, we try to plan this out a little bit more, have an idea of where we might want to end up, different things we're going to say. Today, truly, we need to like make a playlist of the messy middle because it's really just going to be this idea of verbal processing, which I mentioned recently is something that I personally use a lot. And I think I got that from my mom. So we're just going to talk about it a little bit and talk about some different pieces of this, different
Yeah.
elements.
So, the first thing I wanna talk about is what is the definition of fun? Which, again, if you longtime listeners are gonna be like, "Oh, y'all talked about this for, like, 4 weeks in February," but I just don't think we can talk about fun enough. And we also are in the process of creating our retreat for corporate or for family-owned businesses, and we are going to incorporate fun as the fourth segment of that. So I think that's also why it's coming up for me. So the definition of fun. How let's start with you, Sammy, because I'm going to talk more. What's your definition of fun?
Oh gosh. Let's see. My definition of fun that is not pulled up from any dictionary website because it's just pulled from my brain. Engaging in enjoyable activities for the sake of said enjoyable activity. I think maybe I don't know. Actually, maybe that the second part is not totally true. Um, because sometimes I do things that for a purpose that end up being fun. And then there are other times where I think probably play is a little bit more of doing things for the sake of doing them, that it is an enjoyable activity and the goal is to enjoy it. Whereas fun is, I don't know, it's gaining some type of amusement, benefit, enjoyment, relationship time, adding to my little buckets. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think,
and it's interesting you pull in play because I think when you're designing the workshop, you are saying play and fun is going to be that segment, right?
yes.
Using play and fun to build resilience, team resilience. And so the so then okay, so that is activity, but if we say Angela after a few drinks is more fun than sober Angela.
All right. Well, can I break this down a little bit as somebody
Sure.
who knows both of these individuals? I know sober Angela and I know drunk Angela. And I'm
And you hang
talking
out with
to
both.
podcast Angela who's totally different than both of those people, okay? Right? No, 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 no. I just mean that I need to talk about a mutual friend of ours, and I might say things about a mutual friend of ours that'd be like, well, if we're assessing and analyzing, that's all I mean is that we're going to put Angela and drunk, sober Angela and drunk Angela over here. Your face right now, you're like, I do not know what's coming, and I do not know that I'm okay with it.
I am not
Um,
in for this.
nah, you'll be fine. Um, so one of the key differences I think between sober Angela and drunk Angela is that drunk Angela uh to the most full extent doesn't care what other people think about her. And I
Ooh.
think that sober Angela to a lesser or different extent doesn't care what people think about her, but in a way that it is like, no, I'm really confident, I'm just going to do my own thing. I do want to be considerate of other people. I care a lot about the people who are close to me and what they think about me. I care a lot about it's a balance of being considerate, of acknowledging where other people are, what they might want to do in any given moment. Drunk Angela doesn't necessarily care what you want to do. She wants to do this and she's going to let you know. Um, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a way of like, no, I want to do this. Let's go. It doesn't matter if anybody else does or doesn't. She's very excited to get other people on board. She's also persuasive. Gosh dang, drunk Angela is persuasive. You like take all of her marketing years, and instead of it being about how should people support your business, and she's like, how should I get more people drunk with me? Like, how do I?
I I would say sales Angela comes out, not marketing, because
There
marketing is a
you go.
long-term approach, and say I have also pretty much been in sales since I was about 20. So 30 years of sales experience, I would say. I would say that
I also don't know that drunk Angela cares as much about future Angela. Sober
right.
Angela cares a lot about future Angela.
Oh, that's such a
Drunk Angela cares most about
good
current
right
present moment
now.
Angela right now. And it's like, you know what? I don't care if four drinks if if I'm at four drinks right now and eight drinks is too much for future Angela, that's future Angela's problem. Current me is gonna have eight drinks. I mean, I don't know that that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but there's part of it that
I have
is this too
definitely
much? Too much of a
no,
mirror?
I'm like I'm trying to imagine what people are would be thinking about this, and I'm trying to go like, guess who's never gonna get to run for public office now?
Oh,
In
please.
case she ever wanted to.
Are
This
you
is now on
kidding
the
me?
internet for everyone to see.
Are you
Um,
kidding? I'm sorry. You could become a convicted felon and run for
Stop it.
office. You can do anything.
Okay, well, anyway, so I'm like going, oh my gosh, I'm flipping through my list, like, oh, yep, I'm never going to get to be on church staff. I'm never going to get, which that's
Oh.
not bad. I've done that before. And
I'm going
fine
to
that I
debunk
don't get
all
to
of these.
repeat
Have you
that.
not met our church staff?
Anyway, so, oh, funny story. This happened a month or so ago. Well, it was my birthday, so it was 2 months ago. I was chatting with somebody and I was telling them that I had had this conversation about faith and that this person was saying things that were almost true and that I really was trying to wrestle with should I correct them because they were almost true but not totally true. And this person said, I know. It's like celebrities that claim that they follow Jesus. And then the next thing you know, they're like passed out drunk at a bar. I mean, come on. And I go, I mean, that was me Friday night. And he goes, what? And I go, I mean, I just accidentally drank like too many. And I don't actually remember running into people at the end of my birthday night. And I hate that. I was sitting there while somebody else went and got the car. Somebody else went and got the car. But anyway, said all that to say they did not know what to think. I was like, no, no, no. I'm telling you, I still have Jesus. And I just like, I
It's
just got one too
Gladys from
many.
Ellen. You know,
Yes.
Ellen, I love
Yes.
Jesus, but I drink a little.
I drink a little. I saw that t-shirt recently. I'm like, I've got to get that t-shirt. Anyway, so all that to say, but I don't want to solve my drinking problem because number one, that's a boring problem to solve. Number two, it is I can do it. If I mean I've done it for 14 months. I was fine. Uh I so that's why I want to solve the fun problem. So you're saying that I don't care a lot about what people think.
Prioritize the present moment over the future moment.
I think there's a little bit of it. I think so those are I'm sure those are true. I won't argue against those, but those are not that's not the element that I've observed about myself that I enjoy.
Ooh.
I think I heighten my ADD making connections and making observations that make myself and other people laugh. And so I will just say stuff that is like, I will make an observation about a situation. It's situational comedy, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure most people know this about me in college. I did stand up comedy. Stand up comedy is hard. Like, you got to stand up there and you
Mhm.
got nothing to work with and you got to generate laughs. I quit doing that because if you are a professional development speaker and you make people laugh the whole time, then they think you're brilliant and awesome. But if you're a stand up comedian, they go, make me laugh. So I refuse not to do that. But situational comedy is all about like seeing things that are absurd and bringing those to light, I think, and telling stories in a way. I think that's the other thing is I tell these fantastical exaggerated stories that make people laugh like crazy. Um, when I have to be business in those scenarios, I can feel myself being like, concentrate. Don't exaggerate. So I think you're right on this like think about salespeople that are like, big personalities.
Hmm. What
Yeah.
doesn't feel right about it though?
Well, I'm just
And
sitting here
not
going,
right. I mean like in the puzzle piece tumbler that you're like fidgeting with and then all of a sudden it'll click into place.
yeah, because I was just like, ooh, yeah, I did feel that. I I think there is an element of this that is like, and I've wrestled with this. I even joke and say, "Oh, I promise I'm gonna be at the top of everybody's party list. I have a book about feeling your feelings. I'm working on a book about it's okay to die, and then my book after that is gonna be about abandonment. Woo! I'm a party waiting to happen." Like, there's an element of the work that I do and my chosen research area and what I want to empower the world and how I want to deliver freedom to people are pretty hard topics. And I think I have some struggles with like reconciling. Like in some parts of my brain, I say, I think that's why I was called for these hard topics is because I do bring such a lighthearted energy to everything and I do bring such a positive and I'm not a meditation teacher and I'm not like doing all this nerdy stuff. And there is a little bit of it's a little bit disjointed. I went to a workshop 100 years ago and I they had this exercise where they were like, okay, close your eyes and pretend like you're a jackhammer. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, open your eyes. Close your eyes, pretend like you are a seagull, and then you're swaying in the wind. And then they said, okay, now close your eyes, and you are going to do both at the same time. And so or they were like, imagine you are a jackhammer while you're swaying. And it was like this you couldn't like do this thing if you couldn't imagine being a jackhammer at the same time you were trying to. And then they were now like, okay, now be a jackhammer. Now imagine in your brain, if your body is jackhammering, now in your brain try to be the seagull. And it was impossible to like this angst, right? And I think there's some element of angst of maybe I haven't brought together the full force of like I talk about really hard deep topics at my heart in my heart of hearts. You go back to what you did when you were a kid, my my first job while I was in college was stand up comedy, right? So I wasn't even a job. It was just something I did for fun. Ah, I did it for fun and I also did it sober.
Mm.
I did not ever put that together. That's hilarious. Okay.
Well, and one of the things that's coming up for me within this is that I think that for a lot of the journey in the process that we want to invite people on, especially when you either you or I end up engaging with somebody in one-on-one coaching, it's often when they're at a place of like, I'm desperate, I need help. And there's this like, I can't do it on my own. I have to have somebody to help me to do this. And it's not a terribly fun place to be at. The people who we
Yes.
continue to try to convince to let us coach them are the ones who haven't quite realized, the ones that they're not rock bottom yet, but they're the ones that are still having fun in all of their dysfunction. They're the ones that say, I put the fun in dysfunction. And we're like, yeah, you definitely do. Do you see that that's a coping skill? And do you see that there's deeper issues underneath? No, you don't see that? Okay, well, you give me a call when you notice. Um, bec- but it is more fun to work with people that are in that fun place, and yet you don't always realize that you're not ready to accept help and to get support from other people until you're sometimes in a little bit of a darker place and a little bit harder place. It's not from a place of like, wow, I'm feeling so delighted and enjoyed my life and everything is perfect, I should go seek out some counseling. I mean, I think that that is actually a really good thing to do, and to find ways that you can shore up your systems when you're not in crisis. And
Mm.
yet, too often we have to go to crisis management before we start to make a difference in our life. And
Yeah.
so this isn't necessarily about your fun problem, but about for us and the work that we do, it does get really tricky because we are both fun people and we both like the lightheartedness, and both of us use humor to cope at times and to diffuse
Mhm.
situations. There are several, like, something will get really tense really quickly, and I'm very fast to jump in with some humor to help bring some lightness to the conversation, to use humor when I'm feeling really sad, and that's when the dark jokes come out. I mean, golly, the day that we had to put our dog down, I don't think I've had a day with as many dark jokes as that day in a
Sure.
long time. And everyone's like, Sammy, I can't laugh at you right now because this is such a hard situation, but I also can't not laugh because that was horribly funny. It was horrible and funny. I don't know. It's complicated. It's
It
really
is
complicated. That's
complicated.
not the kind of fun and funny that I actually want on a regular basis. I don't want
Right.
the dark humor. The dark humor comes because I don't know what else to do. And I
Hmm.
don't know. Sometimes I'm a little bit afraid to sit in that heavier place. And so if I add some lightness to it, feels like, okay, okay, I can breathe. I can handle this. It's okay. You're not sinking. I don't know.
As you sat there saying all that, I was like, what is the goal?
Mm.
This is the thing that you say all the time. Like when somebody's going to have a conversation, somebody's going to send an email, someone's going to do an action. What is the actual goal? Right. So when I find myself in situations that I've had a little too much to drink, I would say 90 to 95% of the time, I'm with other people. I'm not I'm not sitting on my back deck by myself.
I would say
As a matter of fact,
99.9% of the time. Like,
probably yes, 99.9% of the time. Right. I mean, I almost like I won't even have a beer or glass of wine with a meal here at home. Like I never by my like Barry and I were talking about that one time. We were like, we just don't we have a friend that teases us about how much we drink because when we're like the the king and queen of bar crawls and pub crawls and rooftop bar crawls and all the things when we were in Panama City, like we knew all the rooftop bars in downtown Panama City, in Casco Viejo. Anyway, the but we're not I don't home. So the goal then and it's not so typically I think people drink for social lubricant. Like they are uncomfortable around people and they want to be more comfortable. I don't think that's my thing. That's what you were talking about with the like you don't care a whole lot about what people think in general and this is caring even less.
yes, and I have an interrupt thought, but if you need
Go.
to finish your thought,
No.
I remember one time when I was early college and you took me to some type of business event. I actually don't remember what the event was, but there was
Okay.
some business related event. We were in downtown Rogers, and there was a bar, and even like they were definitely gonna serve me alcohol if I wanted to, even though I was like 19 years old. Um, and you went up to get a drink, and you were like, "Can I have a Sprite and cranberry in the same glass that you would put a vodka Sprite in?" And I was like, "What's going on?" And you were like, "If even I don't want to drink tonight. And if I walk back up to that group of ladies and I don't have a drink in my hand, it can either come across as judgment of them drinking and they will feel less comfortable, or they are going to view me differently because I'm not having fun and hanging out with everybody, but I don't need the alcohol to have fun, and I don't want to deter the social situation." So it was very interesting that we actually had an encounter where you were like, "No, I'd like to, you're not specifically pretending like you're drinking, but I would like to have a drink in hand so that it doesn't look like I'm trying to mess with the social lubricant of the group."
Well, and that's funny that you say that because I can remember as soon as you said that, one of my I was at a party. I was a little sis to a fraternity, engineering fraternity in college, and we had an alumni bash, and they were having some game, and I just had my purple water bottle, and I am like, the longer the game gets on, the more obnoxious I am getting. And I'm screaming at people, come on, get out here, blah, blah, blah. I was doing all the things. And Barry wanders by and he goes, you ain't fooling me. I know for a fact you sober. That's hilarious. And then my friend Kim walks over and she goes, what's in the purple bottle? And I go, water. And she goes, are you kidding me right now? And I go, no. She goes, what in the heck? And are you high on life? And I go, I am, as a matter of fact. And at that moment, I had lost 20 of the 30 pounds. And I was like, I'm not doing anything to mess up this goal. Like, I can totally. And I've forgotten that day because everybody at that party would have sworn on a stack of Bibles that I was just toast. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, no. So that's helpful because I want to be that silly. That's
Right.
the thing. I love being silly and fun and playful. And when you talk about abandonment and emotional processing and resilience, like, whew, heavy. But I love being silly and fun. And I wouldn't want to be dismissively silly when somebody is needing a hard conversation and they're
Sure.
needing emotional processing. So this is super helpful. So it's what's the goal, which is often what we say about like, okay, it's a little bit of like, okay, why am I eating this food right now? It's like, what is the purpose of this drink? I know for a little while, I even like ordered these little um water infusers that tasted like a margarita flavor infuser because then I could trick my brain. And I also can drink non-alcoholic beer and trick my brain and go, ha ha, Pavlov's dog. Look, I'm still gonna have fun. Um, so I guess that's my next experiment that I'm gonna have to run. I have a new goal, which
I
is
think
to try to be as fun sober as I am when I'm drinking. And there's also a point I have to remind myself, you get to a point where you're no longer fun. Like you
there
get too
absolutely
much,
does get a point where anybody who's getting too drunk is not fun anymore. Like
you're not fun anymore. No, no, you're like ending up in the bathroom, carrying me to the car, all the things. Yeah.
yelling at
You don't
you
have
to walk up into the steps of your house. That's hypothetical. That's not anything else.
hypothetical. Stop it. Anyway, so that's my fun problem. What I hope, okay, so here's the thing is that sometimes it may have sounded like I was just navel gazing, but what
You
I
were
hope
what?
happened, navel gazing, looking at my
Same.
navel, belly button, staring at
I'm
the belly button. Like this is an idea of like you just are so introspective. Navel gazing means you're just looking and you're so unaware of what's going on around you because you're just picking the lint out of your own
I've
belly button.
never heard that word before. And I was like, navel gazing, like staring at your belly button. And then you were like, yeah, I like staring at your belly button. And I'm like, why is that a term? Why is that a
It's a
phrase?
term to basically mean it's the same people that from the same people that brought you "Quit Crying or I'll give you something to cry about." Actually, they would have said "Dry it up," which is code for "Quit crying or I'll give you something to cry up." They would have called it anybody that's being introspective, that's looking at themselves, navel gazing, because you're just staring at your own self. Anyway, but that is not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is actually because number one, I always want people to know that we bring you information from the perspective of we're on this journey. Number two, I hope that this like helps you to look around and see if there's an area of your life that is kind of it bugs you after the fact. Like, I don't really like that. I don't like when I overeat. I don't like how I feel. I don't like when I eat a bunch of sugar because I don't like how I feel. I don't know, whatever it is. A few people that over exercise, that could happen and it could be bad and you could hurt yourself, whatever it is that you overdo that you don't love, that you would wish could be a little bit better, then hopefully kind of the process that I'm going through here of looking at, can I be as fun without drinking as I am drinking? I hope it's been helpful to you guys.
Illuminating.
Illuminating.
Well, and I don't know, we never claim to be perfect over here. And sometimes There have been a few people who made comments who are like, man, you guys have it all together. You guys have figured it all out. And it's like, that's a joke. If that's what you've gotten from everything so far, my sincerest apologies. Now, on the Candyland board, we might be a few spaces above you, the Candyland board of life. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna fall down the fudge falls and not slide back some other time. I mean, I don't know. There's different things that can help us improve, but by no means do we think that we've arrived. And I hope that we can continue to communicate. Whatever growth that you want is possible for you. You just have to want it and make the decision. Step one, decide, and then go forward from there. Bringing it all the way back to Be Freaking Awesome, Chapter 1. Step one is decide. Well, thank you guys so much for listening today. If you guys have thoughts, insights, you were listening and you were like, ooh, I want to say a thing. Tell us, send us a thing. I'll put the little link where you guys can send us a voice message in the show notes of this episode. We would love to hear from you. Love to hear any of your thoughts. Love to hear what's your messy middle right now and what's going on. Maybe we'll invite you on the podcast and we'll do another one of these. Thank you guys so much for all of your support and love. And for now, I hope you guys go be freaking awesome.